welcome back to my channel. For those who don't know me, my name is Katharine, and in today's video, I'm going on Goodreads to read 1-star reviews of my favorite books. This video I actually have been looking forward to making because it's going to be hilarious. I get really defensive over my favorite books, and I will take no criticism from anyone on my favorite books. So I will definitely be easily offended today. I typically am not easily offended, but when it comes to my books, I will take no criticism on the ones that I love. So let's just get into this. I'm gonna go on Goodreads now and see what I can find for 1-star reviews of my favorite books. So starting off strong, one of my favorite books of all time, if not my favorite book of all time, is Redeeming Love by Francine Rivers. For those who don't know what Redeeming Love is by Francine Rivers, it's essentially a Christian historical romance novel loosely based on the book of Hosea in the Bible, and I absolutely love this book. It's about this girl named Sarah, and she's sold into sex trafficking as a child, and her name is changed to Angel. At the age of 8, she's sold into that, okay? So that's pretty young. But anyways, at the age of 18, so 10 years later, she tries to find an escape, and she marries this man named Michael Hosea, and basically she's saved out of prostitution. And through this, Michael Hosea really shows Angel, or Sarah, whatever you want to call her, and he shows her like the love of God, not just romantically, but just like in general. He is a Christian and she is not, so like it definitely is a process for her to like truly know what the love of God is, or just to be loved by a man is, and like because she's always struggled with being like a prostitute where she's just seen like as an object. And it's just such a beautiful story, and it really taught me like the love of God in like a more palpable way, if that makes sense, in a more personal way as well. And I just recommend this book like to everyone, and I hope that anyone and everyone reads Redeeming Love by Francine Rivers, not just if you're a Christian. Like, yes, if you're a Christian, but also like if you're not a Christian and you're just like curious about like Christianity in general, definitely read it. But let me read some of these 1-star reviews from this because this is going to be funny. I'm guessing a lot of these 1-star reviews are going to be from people who aren't Christian and who are maybe atheists and like don't understand like what a Christian historical romance is about. But like, let's just see. So this review is from Ivan, and it says DNF at page 50. I was supposed to read this to page 200 as punishment for lost bet, but I'm gonna be dishonorable scum and just bail out of it because I just can't get on with this. This book is probably good if you are into this kind of stuff, but religious romance about redeeming love for an anti-romantic, cynical atheist like me was just torture. Understandable. I understand that, Ivan, if you're a cynical atheist. I totally understand your 1-star review. And this other review that I have here is by Sincerely. I think that's how you pronounce it. It says in all caps, "Do not read No, No, No." This probably won't be a popular opinion, but I'm sorry, here it is anyway. I do believe there is actually something wrong with this book. It's my personal stance that there is something morally wrong with getting so far inside the terror of a small child, even fictionalized, as she is led away to rape and prostitution at the age of 8. If you're in ministry and you're actually helping someone overcome this type of trauma, that is needed and sacrificial and wonderful. I'm thankful, but reading anything like this as entertainment is problematic at best and repulsive at being marketed as Christian fiction, and I'm not afraid to say it. There comes a point where the brokenness is so demoralizing to a reader then any story of redemption is not worth putting the imagery in your brain. This is not what God requires from us or even wants from us. Protect your spirit, your purity, read something else. I normally do not star books I've chosen not to finish, but I put together really strict guidelines for myself a year ago, and this one fits the bill for everything listed for 1 star, except for poor quality. What I read was actually great writing, but the content was disgusting. Irresponsible themes, offensive content for the intended audience. I tell people not to read it in poor quality. So that's actually coming from a Christian, and I understand where she's coming from. Like, I understand that what is mentioned in the book is a little bit heavy and it's dark, but I would have to disagree with her in the fact that it talks about things that we need to talk about as Christians. Like, prostitution still happens in this world. Sex trafficking and child sex trafficking still happens in this world, and we need to talk about that kind of stuff as Christians. In the face of evil like that, we need to talk about it. And this book, even though it is a fictionalized book and it's about, made up characters, it deals with how far God's love goes in order to redeem us and in order to save us. And it portrays that stark contrast of how deep God and Jesus has to go to pull us out of sin. Not one of us here on earth is exempt from sin and is exempt from the depravity that we are from God. We were all once sinners. No matter if you were a simple just liar, you just lied, or if you were a prostitute, no matter what you are as a sinner, you're still a sinner. Like, God looks at sin the same way. So I really love Redeeming Love for that contrast that, like, even though she was a prostitute and she was sold into sex trafficking as a child, it makes the book that much more beautiful that she was redeemed out of something so horrific. I think as Christians, we get so desensitized to our own sin and to other people's sin that we forget where God saved us from. And I also think that's where a lot of unforgiveness can come in as well, where we hold grudges against people and we have a hard time forgiving others because we forget where God saved us from. Like, I think this book, Redeeming Love, is such a great portrayal of, even though it does talk about dark things, I don't think it's something that us as Christians should shy away from reading, because it just shows the magnitude of where God saved us from and what types of things that God can do in our lives and in other people's lives. So I think even like with sexual content in books, like, I understand, like, I actually have had to pull back from reading a lot of spicy books because I don't think as Christians we should be reading books with a lot of smut or spice in it, because if sexual content is in books for lustful pleasures, then we shouldn't be reading it, because that's essentially corn, if you get my drift. But at the same time, if a book includes sexual content for the plot and it doesn't go into like descriptive examples of like what's going on, if that makes sense, like, I don't think that there's a problem in having sexual content in there if it's just for the plot and nothing more than that. And I think just in general, like, purity culture in the Christian community is very taboo, and I think that we should be talking about sex more in the Christian community. But that's just my take on it. Like, I understand where this woman is coming from because she is a Christian, but like at the same time, we do need to talk about this kind of stuff, and we do need to make sense of it and like learn from it. And I think that it's not wrong to talk about this kind of stuff in books. Okay, on to the next book. I am going to go to Where the Lost Wander by Amy Harmon. Okay, this is from Gina, and it says, after a little further investigation into my previous reads of Amy Harmon, I realized I have not enjoyed her last 4 historical fiction releases. They move too slow with not enough tension or chemistry for me. Boo-hoo. I have always thought of her as a one-click author. I keep reading everything she writes. I might have to rethink and research the books better since she has changed her vibe. Her early books from 7 to 8 years ago were full of magic, of beautiful love and relationships, always with a unique twist on characters or spiritual tales, which I often found so interesting, but still fun and flirty, or at the very least an angsty sizzle. The last 4 historical books have been full of great historical tales and research. I just don't feel any connection between her characters anymore. Awesome for the historical fiction readers though. I read, listened this up till 30%. I don't understand that. What she means by that. And I just can't get myself to turn it back on. DNF. So I don't know where this person is coming from, because I absolutely loved Where the Lost Wander. Like, even though, like, yes, does Amy Harmon like really use a lot of description in her books to describe what's going on because it is historical? Yes, but like at the same time, like, it's for a reason. And I truly did feel connected to the characters in this book. I did feel connected to the romance and like what was going on. Like, that's one thing Amy Harmon does really well, is she like really like does her research, and she like really like brings you into the story, and that's what her writing style just does. I don't understand like where this person is coming from, because I felt really connected to the characters and to the plot. Okay, this other review is from Fatima. I think that's how you pronounce her name, or Fatima. I feel like the entire book was perpetuating damaging stereotypes against Native Americans. Even the nuance was weak and laced with those same underpinnings or underpinings. I don't know how to pronounce that. So this book does deal with a lot of, you know, colonization and like Native Americans and things like that. And I don't feel like they did Native Americans wrong. I feel like because this book is basically taking place on the Oregon Trail, and it is about Naomi and her family trekking across the country to California, and they come in contact with Native Americans, and even the guy who's leading them out to California is half white and half Native American. His name is John Lowry, and that's who Naomi, the main female character, falls in love with. But like, I feel like they represented it so well that they didn't make Native Americans out to be bad, and they didn't make white people to be bad either. Like, I feel like Amy Harmon did such a great job of like portraying both sides, and like really seeing how the Native Americans saw it, and really seeing how the white people and the colonizing people saw it. Do you know what I mean? Like, both sides were wrong in some aspects, and some sides were right in some aspects. So it's not always like right and wrong, and there's a lot of gray area when it comes to like how both sides like interact with each other, and I think Amy Harmon did like a really great job of doing that. So I don't see a reason why this person says that they represented Native Americans wrong, because there wasn't anything in there that was inherently racist. Like, I don't even like remember anything that was in there that would have been considered racist. Like, I feel like she really did her research, and she really made sure that both sides were represented, and she even like describes a lot of the rituals and a lot of like the cultural things in the Native American community as like beautiful, and like as, you know, these like very majestic things. And I don't think that she represented Native Americans wrong. But those are the 2 books that I'm gonna be doing in this video today, just because I feel like if I did more, this video would go on forever. But let me know if you want me to do another video like this, because I have a lot of other favorite books that I have, you know, read in the past. So I just want to post this video of 2 books that I love, that I wanted to read 1-star reviews of, just to kind of like give myself a laugh, and possibly even like defend why the 1 star is unjustified. But thank you for watching today's video. I will see you in another video sometime soon. Make sure to do all the YouTube things that you know how to do, like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you sometime soon. Bye!